welcome back everybody. This is Spiff bringing you round 4 of the SCS June Open 2021. I'm joined once again by Alpha Hex, and I do just want to have a little teaser for you. We are going to have a very special guest commentator for the final game coming up next. But before we get to that, we have this game in front of us on Open Palms, and Alpha Hex, why don't you go ahead and introduce the player on the top right?
In the top right corner we have FoxTermelon spawning in as the white Aeon player, dropping down 2 research stations and a land factory, which I wouldn't recommend against a good player, but then again, FoxTermelon is facing kind of the underdog of the tournament, who's spawning in the bottom left, so...
Yeah, down here in the bottom
away,
left. Down here in the bottom left. Spawning in as the green UEF commander and dropping down 1 research station, 2 land factories, and an air factory, all just on 4 mass extractors. It is Potatoman. And now we see why Fox has the confidence to maybe put down 2 research stations before anything else. Potatoman is really going all in with this, and I don't know that he's even going to be able to use all of these factories after that research station.
I can tell you right away he's going to stall in about 30 seconds, and he doesn't even have any energy generators. He's trying, but, you know, definitely going to need some improvement before facing a player like FoxTermelon.
Well, he will maybe get a scout off here. Nope, he's put his plane on patrol.
Well, at least we could try to, you know, turn this into a bit of like an, instructive, match.
Yeah, so just for starters, most of these pros that we've seen today will start a little bit leaner on their builds. 3 factories is kind of the maximum that you can support. I kind of like to go by the rule of 3s. So a land factory is 1, an air factory is like 1.5, and a research station is 2, and you want to build a total of 3 points for your opening build. So 3 land factories, 2 air factories, 1 research, and 1 land factory, something like that. Trying to build all this stuff all at once is just a good way to stall out.
Right, you have to balance it with the economy and expansion. It's not worth it to build more factories if those factories aren't running all the time. And I think the magic of this match is going to be you either see pros versus pros, and the other option is noobs versus noobs. But now if you're going to be able to see a great player against someone who's, starting out.
Someone who's learning.
And you're going to be, hopefully we're going to see Fox, punish his mistakes, so you're going to understand why the pros are doing what they're doing, because now you're going to see what Potatoman isn't doing, and now Fox is kind of abusing that, unless he goes easy on him. But
well, it might look like Fox is going easy on him, but that's just because Fox knows he's not in danger. One thing that you'll see the pros doing a lot is they only build stuff they need, right? I'm not getting attacked. I don't need a point defense, so I'm not going to build... Oh, wait, now I'm getting attacked. I need a point defense. Let's build one.
Right, it's about the efficiency. You don't want to allocate resources where you don't need them, because then where you need them, you're going to have less resources than your enemy. You're essentially decreasing your total strength. Unlike the land force, for example, if your enemy puts everything they have into the land force, and you build unnecessary things, then your land force is just going to be weaker. And you can see Fox on the left side sacrifice capturing, which is why Aeon engineers are so brutal on the flanks, because Aeon engineers in a 1v1 with another engineer, the Aeon engineer is always going to win. And you don't want to only use, nothing but your engineer to defend against that. You need to send some tanks or some bots, maybe bombers, to deal with it. So Fox does get away with the UEF engineer, but I don't think it's going to get very far.
It does pull an awful lot of attention and units away from the front. Or rather, the other side, the other flank here, where another engineer is coming in with another sacrifice capture. And sure enough, we see FoxTermelon punishing Potato's mistakes. Send your entire army to the left. Okay, I'll go right.
Yeah, if Fox went more of a standard build here, he would have like triple the amount of units he had. Like, you could really see in the first game we casted how many bots Vanity was able to pump out from the Freeland factory build. And pulling this many units to the left leaves your right side completely exposed to harassment. And Potatoman's ACU is like not gonna be enough to wouldn't be able to defend all that, but this time Fox is going very heavy on research, so he doesn't have any units he could send there.
And he's just sending these engineers around to be annoying. We do see a gantry coming down. See, like I said, Fox, it might have looked like a few minutes ago he was going easy. He wasn't. He was just safe, so he didn't need more factories. He could just sit back and tech, which is exactly what he did.
Right, he's anticipating that Potatoman's not gonna be very aggressive. I don't think you would be able to get away with 2 research against a good player on like 90% of the maps, especially open palms. It's very difficult, and you have to be lucky.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the sort of thing that you could do in a team game, where the maps are much bigger and you have people to watch your back while you tech. And you don't have to scout for yourself. You've got an air player to do that.
Right, and a lot of the team maps also have like pretty big choke points, like Van Horn Core, where you can defend, but open palms is just so open that, you know, you can get attacked from anywhere. As like, if you have less units, you can't defend. You need to have units that can move, because turrets aren't going to be enough.
Yeah, and these engineers continue to be annoying.
And a lot of people like to put their planes on patrol. I know that's what I was doing when I had like 50 hours in this game. And I don't know why it's so appealing, but the planes going around the patrol aren't really defending anything. If you have a radar and you just keep the plane stationary, like using the radar, you can see enemy planes coming in and then react instead of just flying around in circles. You know, which is actually worse because your planes aren't grouped up in one clump.
That habit might come from playing the campaign. Either because there's a voice line in there that's like, oh, hey, you should patrol your planes over here so that they'll take care of any incoming bombers.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played the campaign in a while. That's possible. And also, the AI really likes to just blindly send, like, waves of airplanes. But if you're against a good player, they're just going to see, oh, he's putting his planes on patrol. I can just, like, sit at the edge of it and pick them off one by one instead of engaging the entire Air Force at once.
All right. Well, I think we're about to focus in on what I believe is Potato's biggest weakness in this game, biggest mistake in this game. There's no radar here. And
oh yeah.
he probably had enough units to defeat this incoming land army if he was in position. But without the radar to see them coming, his positioning was all wrong to intercept them. And it's going to do a lot of damage in his base here.
Well, one could argue that with the airplanes, you don't even need a radar. Rarely do I build one, but Potato is just keeping them above his base, not really scouting his opponent. Like, the biggest thing about airplanes is that it gives you the ability to see everything your enemy is doing for like 40 mass however often you want. So it's great to use that to your advantage and react to what your opponent is doing.
You know, very early game, I absolutely agree with you that if you've gone air, you can skip a radar, but radars are so cheap, and they get range upgrades, and I think that by 10 minutes into the game, even if you have gone air, you should probably have a radar.
You see, you talked about efficiency, but like, if you can use the planes like well enough, and the engineers also get like a tiny radar around them, like that, you know, 100 mass to you might not seem a lot, but you know, in like a pro game, that could be big. Just like 300 mass doesn't seem like a lot to like a new player, you know? Like, why not put a point defense under a factory shield here where it's defending nothing? So airplanes are
I will
very
say,
useful in Intelligathering.
Oh, we've got Will Find Us on the field here.
Everything you need. Oh, okay. Yeah, Fox is just... That's
a bit of a meme build. I'm sure Nite is like creaming his pants right now. But yeah, I think At least at Potatoman's level, though, build a radar every game.
Yes, yes, right. There's like the
We
good players are going to be doing really weird builds, and just copying them isn't enough. You need to pick whatever's good for your level.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you're not going to be able to execute the build as well as the person you got it from, because maybe they invented it, they've tweaked it all themselves, or they got it from someone much better. So you've got to take what you can take from it.
Right, and there's also like a lot of things in the background that you might not understand. Like they're like trying to predict from the score, looking at the factions,
Exactly.
So
I will
it's
say
dangerous
this.
to just Control C, Control V stuff you see.
I will say this though. Big props and big shout out to Potatoman for putting himself out there and throwing himself into a tournament against some of the biggest names in this game right now. That takes a lot of guts. It's nerve
Yeah, and it's the
wracking
only
to
way
go
to
into a
improve.
game
Like
like this.
you gotta go through that process to get good because nobody's born good. We were all noobs once.
Exactly.
So
But I mean, just the fact that he's like, oh, I'm gonna join a tournament against people who've been doing this way longer than me. That mad respect, man. Mad respect. And the power of the will find you.
yeah, the funny thing is that they do actually have their uses because uh, the things that are following the Wolfinges are units that you can't control, and they don't like affect the unit cap, but they're units, and they're just like assist moving with the Wolfinge. So very often they're going to be shooting like way further than the range of the Wolfinges. So if you're retreating, the Wolfinges become very strong because the units are lagging behind it and shooting at what's coming, while the enemy can't really target the Wolfinge. But when you're going forward, it's very difficult to attack anything since the little drones are lagging behind.
Yeah,
And
I'm a little disappointed that we don't see will finges more often, because they are one of my favorite units, even though they're maybe not the best.
another funny niche is that there's only like a horizontal limit to those drones, but they can go up and down like infinitely far. So
Oh, yeah.
on a map like QAI Prototype Lab, the one we casted with Explo and Fox, where you like build the Cobras against the shield generators, if you park a will find you like all the way, like right next to the wall, as close as you can get it, it's gonna start shooting at like the buildings that are like all the way on top.
Well, this is a
Just
nice
because
little
like
move here, though.
horizontally, yeah. Just
Potato
because horizontally, it's
Potatoman is killing his third mass extractor now in the back of Fox's base, and Fox has either decided he doesn't care or hasn't noticed.
right. Well, I think he noticed, but yeah, like the game with that many will find us, I'm not sure if the units are a threat. Maybe with Afterburn, but I would like to say that mixing units like that, the tanks with the bots, is not a good idea. You want to use like one or the other, because bots have the movement speed, and they have slightly less damage, health, everything. But if you like mix it with tanks, then you're kind of killing the mobility bonus.
Or they're
And if
gonna
you're
split
mixing,
themselves up like they have done here.
yeah, and if you're mixing bots into like the main army, then you're just like using less DPS than you could have for the same amount of mass.
I think what Alpha is saying is, if you're gonna go bots, go bots. Otherwise, stick with tanks and other units that move at the same speed as tanks.
Right.
And these experimental sea hunters are now on the hunt for the commander, and looks like this one's gonna find it.
Yep. They actually have really good radar and sonar, and they have. I think they're the fastest experimental in the game. They move really fast, so.
And yet no one ever actually uses them against ships.
Yeah, it's just better as an Aeon to go for the small land unit spam and rely on teleport instead.
All right, well, that was game number 1. And we're going to take a very short break, and we're going to be back with game number 2 and a very, very special guest for you guys. Welcome back, everybody, to our final match of the day. This is Spiff coming at you with the June Open SCS. And we are joined today by a very special guest. I'm going to throw it over to him to introduce our first player on the right-hand side here. But I'm not even going to say who it is. He's going to speak, and you will know. Go ahead.
Apparently you will know. So the map is QAI Prototype Facility, which is specially made for the OSS tournaments. And the player is FoxTermelon, spawning in as the white Aeon Commander, dropping down an air factory first, and then echoing all the things. What's going on over on the other side? Alpex, yeah.
On the right side, we have our star, Potatoman, dropping down 2 land factories, which is looking like a great build, and we might actually see a very unexpected result from this game, so...
Yeah,
Well,
much better build than the last game, that's for sure.
Airplanes, I don't think airplanes are safe on this map, but this is
No, not
definitely
at all.
giving Potato a big chance, so...
Potato
You know?
needs to rush in with MMLs and like anti-air, because like there's no way an air factory's safe on this. The rush distance is way too short.
Which is what he's doing right now.
Oh, he went transport. He's gonna turn this into a traditional match.
I kind of
Yeah,
like
I
that on
think-
this
No.
map, though.
I think FoxTermelon is just gonna drop all of those engineers in like the back
Yeah.
of Orange's base and sacrifice
exactly.
Capture's core mass. As long as Orange has a radar, which hopefully he's gonna build,
Yeah, he doesn't have a radar.
if he sees it coming, all you have to do is just move some tanks back and the entire strategy fails. But without a radar, this is gonna be nasty. Orange
Yeah.
might lose his entire base here.
For those of you watching at home, radar is a very important thing, and FoxTermelon's going to show us why in
Parents,
now.
please hide your children. This is not safe for work.
No, this is definitely not safe for work.
Oh, an MMO almost managed to kill one of the engineers, and I think, yeah, that one's actually capturing normally. It's not even sacrifice capturing.
Oh,
That's a
nice
little
control
cocky
K,
on
though.
FoxTermelon, on
Orange-
FoxTermelon's part.
Orange still has a chance here. Like, the damage isn't too bad, and Orange just noticed
Hang on, he
that his
control
base is being
K.
captured.
Yeah, he control K'd the factory and the mass extractor when he realized what was
Ah.
going on.
The mass extractor got control K'd, and that engineer died. Oh, he sat capped that one. Well, that's a bummer.
Right, so hopefully Potato's gonna realize that FoxTermelon doesn't really have anything defending his base, and all he's just gonna have to worry about now is just FoxTermelon's ACU flying around the map.
Which
trying
is
to
also now
harass.
showing up in the main base, throwing down the point defense.
Wow, that is
Right,
scummy.
so we might see a bit of a base trade here.
Yeah, Fox has absolutely nothing to defend the main, so... Well, I mean, I guess there is the transport, but that does, like, no damage.
Potatoman probably should have kept 1 or 2 missile launches behind, just so this doesn't happen. Just so Fox is denied the right for a base trade, you know? So he kills his base, but prevents
But
him
he-
from building a new one.
But look by the Potato's ACU. He does have a single missile launcher.
That's just not in position to do anything about what's going on in his base.
You know, Potato built one air factory. Just one air factory in that top right-hand corner. This would be shut down so fast, and FoxTermelon wouldn't even know it's coming. Just one air factory.
I'm afraid he might not have the mass to do it, though. Like, all Fox
No,
will
he
need to do
definitely
is
doesn't.
just drop some mobile anti-air in the transport. And anytime the airplanes get close, just drop the mobile anti-air, kill the planes, and then pick it back up.
Yeah. Well, we're in a very strange scenario here in this last match. We got a base
Unexplored
trade scenario.
territory. I think this is entirely winning for Orange, but is he going to able to basically make the right decisions here and punish FoxTermelon for, well, basically doing a cheese strat?
I don't
Yeah,
even know if you
they
could call it cheese. I mean, the PD push is a little cheesy, but
it
transports.
ain't easy being cheesy.
Well, I mean, if you do the math, engineers are like, what, 60 mass, 70 mass? Transports are also pretty expensive, like well over 200. Plus the research and the air factory. FoxTermelon had nothing in his base, so at the very best, like, the best result you can get from that strategy is a base trade, but the other players can have units while you don't, so it's definitely not something reliable, but at least it's entertaining to watch.
Potatoman is sucking up that delicious yummy yummy mass. That mass, yo.
I'm glad you said it. I'm glad you
I
said it.
know.
And perfect
Right,
timing
gotta-
too,
he said
because
it.
I was focusing on it on stream.
He said it, he can leave.
Okay, see you guys.
We got the
Bye.
quote.
We're gonna call Potatoman Mass Man.
Well, hold on. We still didn't see an idle engineer, though. Let's make sure there aren't any idle engineers anywhere.
Wait, I'll search. I saw one for a minute, but when I need one,
I think Potato unfortunately lost all of his, and FoxTermelon. Well, FoxTermelon has good micros, so that's just not gonna happen.
no, it's not gonna happen.
Sadly.
Sadly, we won't see a
And
idle engineer.
Potato's finally clearing what FoxTermelon built in his base, but
It's still
fortunately,
getting hit.
FoxTermelon's going to be able to like capture all 4 of the spawns just by flying around in transports. So even though Potatoman has like complete control of the middle, FoxTermelon is still probably going to out-eco him.
Oh
And
man, another capture. Wow,
a real
that got
question here
control
would be
K.
mech guns. That would be pretty devastating against the engineer drops, but I'm not sure
That's
if you can afford, what is it, 6, 7, 8, 9 research points. You start with 5, so it is possible, especially with all the things Potato has been killing.
Yeah, but Potato researched range on his units, so
Ah,
it's gonna be a minute. It's gonna be a minute.
well, he could use the range to just park those units right up against those walls and kill the mass extractors that Fox is trying to build.
Oh.
If he splits up his army well enough, then he doesn't even need to like go to the base. He can just use the missile launchers to deny the mass.
Okay, I think. Oh, it still got captured.
Every time. He's managed to pull it
Even-
off, I think, just almost every time.
Even though there was like 2 or 3 tanks shooting at the engineer still managed to capture it. That
So it's
mass extractor.
the power of Aeon.
Now, Iron Commander's in
found
the chat saying Orange needs to keep those effing units moving, and that's
Yeah.
he's stalling out here.
I found an idle engineer that just started moving as I mentioned it. Cool.
Of course, none of you guys are going to hear us comment on what you're saying in chat for about 2 minutes, but that's okay. All right, well, there are some units moving in the back of the southern base here. Looks like they're going to run away, though.
Fortunately, we're
FoxTermelon?
reaching the point where FoxTermelon has more units than Potato, so the advantage he had in the beginning is just not
It's
going to
gone.
be enough to... Yeah, it's gone.
And it's gone. FoxTermelon now has more like direct fire units. And I think he just researched range, so those are nasty now. And the units are missing each other on this slope quite heavily. I'm glad FoxTermelon moved before those MMLs came back down.
Yeah, that's interesting. If you look at the slopes from, like, the side, they're actually very uneven. Like, it's not a straight slope. There's a lot of, like, elevation changes. So, you're basically dodging the shots, but not horizontally, but vertically.
weird.
Yeah.
Well, Potatoman is rushing a pair of point defense.
He thinks
Doing the
better
right
of it and
thing.
turns around, though.
What was that?
He thinks better of it and turns around.
Yep.
All he had
Hey,
to do was bring 1 or 2 missile launchers, and that would have been enough to basically deal with that alone, while he sends the unit somewhere else.
Potatoman is taking back his original spawn. And will that anti-air tower kill that? No, it's not going to get that air transport.
No, it's got tons of health.
You see how weird that air transport like went up that hill? That was so bizarre.
Yeah, it's actually where you can build cyber buildings to structure ditto.
Oh yeah.
We tested that a lot, and
I see
it's
two
a
idle
very good
engineers.
strategy.
2 idle engineers. Alert. 2 of them.
I think we should disqualify Fox.
Yeah, FoxTermelon,
gets
you
the win.
disqualified. Potato is our real winner here, guys.
He's not playing up to he's not playing up to the standards.
Yeah, FoxTermelon, we expect more from you. Of course, I'm kidding. I know he's not. I know he's
Oh
kind
god, I
of.
think I'm counting 3. Steel, look in the bottom right.
Oh,
The number of idle
No.
engineers is increasing. We might see 4 soon.
there's a problem. I got it.
Engineer idleness intensifies.
Does anybody speak Russian? Because we need to let FoxTermelon know that he done goofed. We're gonna call the cyber police. We're gonna call the internet police, and they're gonna come to your house and take away your computer and say you can't play Supreme Commander 2 anymore.
We need to make a mod where the engineers just explode if they're idle. Like if they don't have any
That'd be
orders in
hilarious.
5 seconds, they just die.
That'd be a great training tool.
Just make everything explode if it's not moving.
Even buildings.
Yeah, well,
Especially buildings. You can build a
Yeah, well,
factory,
if
it'll produce 1 tank and then explode.
Well, if it's producing tanks, then it's, doing something.
No.
The only exception would be like mass extractors and generators, I assume.
No, we want them to. We want them all to blow. Uh-oh. He's got teleport on the transport. The transport just teleported, dropped units off. He's keeping the transport there to do damage.
Oh, no, it's just to pick up the units. The transport damage is like...
No.
It would take like 2 hours to kill the ACO, assuming it doesn't regenerate.
Oh no,
And, like-
it couldn't do it. It couldn't do
Yeah.
it. It couldn't kill anything. I was joking around about that.
Actually... I mean, the funny thing is we actually tested it, and you need like hundreds of transports to snipe a commander, but it is possible. It is more effective to just drop it on their head, though.
There we
Poor
go.
man's
I think
teleport.
Potato-
Looks like... Looks like that's gonna be
Boom!
game number 2 for Orange, unfortunately.
Potatoman has been French fried.
Well, he tried
And-
his best, and he did actually get pretty close. So
Yeah, I mean,
that was very impressive from
Yeah.
Potatoman.
Yeah, good job, Potatoman. You did pretty good. And no one's calling the cyber police on FoxTermelon. Don't tell him I said that. I was totally joking. But yeah, Potatoman, good job, dude. Newer player, and you did something against FoxTermelon. So you gotta pat yourself on the back that you even showed up and went up against him. That takes a lot of guts there, man. You did great. Thank you for putting on a show for us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, props to you for putting yourself out there in a tournament with like a bunch of the best players.
Totally.
All right, well, we're going to take a very short break to take a look at the final scores, and then we'll probably come back with just a brief little chat about who the winner is and have some congratulations for them. So sit tight, we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
If you're still watching, give a thumbs up to this video. If you liked the video, leave a comment. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you are blown away by it, check out my Patreon page. This has been Nite. Take care and peace out.